Hello guys, in today's video we will learn together how to represent and make one-to-many relationship in database management system. I'll be using Django and to represent this concept. So I created the Django project called my site and I added a new app to it called articles. The app is already in settings.py and everything is set here. Before we dive into this, let's understand first the meaning of one-to-many relationship in database management system. For this reason, I illustrated those diagrams here just to let you understand, guys, what that concept mean in the world of databases. So the one-to-many relationship is a relationship, of course, between an entity with one or more instances of another entity. We can see here user and articles, as seen on this example, are entities. So user can write many articles and this group of articles can be written by one single user. So we can understand this by another example of customer and product. So customer can buy many products and group of products can be bought by one customer. So here I represent this as well using this table. So here we have a table of users that take purple, Mr. Blue and Mr. Cyan, and also we have another table which represent the table of articles. So the first table, if we take for example Mr. Purple, he has 3 or 2 articles. So those articles takes ID 3 and ID 4, and of course here they represent the author ID of the author, and has the names of the articles. But maybe here you can add more attributes like table, description, etc. So the same as well for Blue. Blue here, Miss Blue has only one article that takes the first row of this table. You can see again the author ID that represent number 2, which refers to the same ID of the user here. So the same applies to Mr. Cyan. Okay, so in order to represent this using code, we'll be using Django, of course, and we need a built-in user model from Django. So we can import it by saying from django.contrib.old.models import. Sorry guys, what I'm typing. Okay, from django.contrib.old.models import user. So here we can add our class and we can call it article. We will inherit that from models.model, and of course here we can let's add a dot string just to say what this class is going to do. Let's store information about users, about articles. So we can here close this. So we can add some attributes. So the first attribute obviously is the title of the article. So we can use here the field char field to represent this. We can give it 200 as maximum length, and also we need the body or the content of the article. So that would take text field instead, because it will be long a little bit compared to the first attribute. And here we can add another attribute just to mention the date when this post or this article is created. So we'll be using another field, of course, which is datetime field that takes an argument called author now. True is the value that we need to assign to it in order to get the date when this article is created. So in order to represent one-to-many relationship between user and articles, we will need to add an attribute, and this attribute can represent the author, can represent the writer, the contributor, or anything else. So we can keep things simple, and we can name it, author. So we will be using again the same style, but this time we will use the foreign key field that will help us make this type of relationship, the one-to-many. So this field would take the essential key, which is the model that you want to make relationship with. In this case, we'll be using user, and also we can add this model called onDelete, which will give us a good habit. So this habit will help us for the long term. If you, for example, deleted, the user who create a group of articles, also these articles will be created if they are created by that user. So that we cannot have, articles with unknown user. So we can just say models dot cascade in order to mention this. So here one more thing left is to add a string representation to this class. So we can just add a function here with magic method called string. That will take self as an argument. So we can here represent our class by the title. So we can just say self.title. So that's all for our class. So I don't know if I'm going to use the admin interface, but just in case I use it, I already put this here before. That's for the class. So I think I already put my application in the list of the installed apps. But that's all the settings I need. My migrations file is here. Okay, so let me go to the terminal and just run migrations. Of course, here I don't use SQL database. I deleted that before I made this tutorial. So let's say python manage.py make migrations, and okay, we have only one model called article, so it's created. So let's say python manage.py migrate. That will migrate some models, of course, and here we have the articles that we have just added. Nice. So let's clear the terminal and let's open up. Let's see if everything runs properly. So just say python manage.py run server. So we don't have any error. That's great. So we can just run the Django Shell just to play around with our database and see if things works, as expected. So to do this, let's run python manage.py shell. Oh, sorry, here I misspelled that. Right. Okay, so let's do this. Well, so this is our application here, and I want just to clear terminals so that we can import, So here we need users model, of course. So we want just to create some rows in our database, some data, and see if things work as expected. So here we can import our user model. So from django.contrib.old.models import user, and also we need the article table. So we can do this by saying from articles.models import article. Great. So now we can create some variables. So the first thing we need is to create a new user. So we can create a variable called user1, and in order to do this, let's add user here. We'll reference the users, and of course we can just add the username is enough because the email and password field are not required. So we can give it any name. Let's choose the same names, purple. And also we can add a new user called user2, which will take the same argument, same attribute, and we can give it the name of science. So it's enough to have only 2 users. So here let's save our users. So we can just say user1.save to be saved to the database. We can also do the same for the user number 2. And now it's saved. So now we can add 2 articles. and let's say 3 articles, so that we can see if our relationship, works or not. So here the first article would take 3 arguments, as you remember. So we have here the title, the body, and author, but we don't need created at because it will be created automatically for us when we save our model to when we save our data to the database. So I will just put this here. So we have here article, and the same way we did for user. So here we can put the attribute title. We can give it something like my first article, and here we have the body. We can do anything we want. This is my first article, for example, and we can add the author, and here we can assign immediately the variable user _1 as the name of this author. So it's already there, so it will give us the name automatically. So the string representation of this model user is username of the user. So like we did for models, we have title, so we can just say user. That would give immediately the ID, and that will instantiate immediately users for us. So let's do that. So that would be the first author of this article. Of course, we need to save this, so we can just say article 1 save. So let's add a new article, so that will be the second one. Let's say article again. I don't want to use the top arrow key, that would be a little bit painful, but anyway. So that would be title. I can say here my adventure, and body, my adventure is boring, and we can add an author for it, which will be user 2. So until now we have 2 articles written by 2 different authors. So let's save this article as well. So now we want to have 2 articles created by 1 user, and this is the one-to-many relationship that we want to make sure if it works or not. So let's add a new article number 3, and that would take the same user, but we will assign the user 1 to it. Okay, so here we can say my second article because we put before my first article, so we can say my second article, and then we can add the attribute body, and we can say again the same, this is my second article, and then we can assign the author to user 1. Well, so let's save this, and now our articles are saved. So let's see if our relationship works or not. So the first thing we need to do, let's say article 3, for example. This is going to be the key for our concept today. So here, article 3, we want to see the author of this article. Here, of course, is Mr. Purple. But now, let's see if this Mr. Purple has, of course, now our relationship works. So we can see, the author of this article. That's the first sign. Great, so let's see, how many articles Mr. Purple has. So in order to do this, we can just say user 1, which refers to Mr. Purple, and then we can add article, and then we can say set the all, and now we can see we have my first article. This is only for the first author. But I think there is one more problem here. I don't see the article number 3. Why? Because I don't save it to my own database. Interesting. Let's do this. I forget to do that. So now we can just save. Nice. So now if I run the same command, we can see here we have my first article and my second article. That's great. So let's do the same as well for user 2. So user 2, I think we only have one article there, so let's make sure set all, and that would have only one article, which is my adventure. So this is how one-to-many relationship works. So I want just to let you know, guys, how you can see this in in the user interface, but I don't want to use the admin, or maybe we can do this. So let's do it. Maybe that can give some clarification for you guys. So let's exit this shell, and I should create super user, I think. So let's say create super user, and of course I can keep it blank because I choose here. So here let's give fake email. And of course any password. Okay, so our super user is created successfully. So let's run our python manage.py, run server. So no error exists. So let me go back to open this link here. Of course, let's go to the admin page, and here we have username, and oh, I forget my password. I think it's this one. Nice. So now if I take a look at my users, you can see I have the super user, of course, and Mr. Cyan in purple been saved to my database. But also if I go to my articles, you can see all the articles I have created. So if I click on my second article, you can see the user, which is purple, and the same as well for my adventure. You have Cyan as well, and the same applies for my first article, which is purple. So also if you want to create a new article, you will see something like this. If you have one-to-many relationship, you can assign the author of your article, and then you can give it a name. So let's say, for example, this time we want to give it to Cyan, and that would be my pleasure to know you, and blah blah blah. And then we can save this. As you can see, we have a new article has been saved. It's called My Pleasure to Know You, and Cyan use. So that's all for our principle for today, our coding concept, which is one-to-many relationship. I hope you can understand this concept clearly, and in the next episodes I hope I can make another tutorial on how to represent many-to-many relationship, again using the same technology, Django. So that's all for today's tutorial. Hope you guys understand this concept. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
Master Boy.